Hello, esteemed gentlemen. The strongest men are the ones you never see coming. Most people spend their private moments indulging in distractions, chasing validation, or drowning in noise, but not the Sigma male. When no one is watching, he's refining his mind, fortifying his will, and executing strategies that no one even realizes exist. Here's a fact. 80% of people waste their alone time on pointless activities, scrolling endlessly, gossiping, numbing their thoughts. Sigma males? They weaponize solitude, turning their private time into a laboratory for self-mastery. And let's be honest, if you think they're just lifting weights, reading books, or brooding in the shadows like some Hollywood stereotype, you're dead wrong. What they do behind closed doors is far more calculated, bizarre, and sometimes borderline unsettling. Get ready, because what you're about to discover will change how you see the lone wolves of society forever. Number 1. They conduct social experiments on people. Sigma males don't just observe people. They experiment on them without anyone ever realizing it. Every conversation, every interaction, every response someone gives is quietly logged, analyzed, and dissected in their mind. They test subtle changes in their own behavior to see how people react, studying human nature like a scientist studying a lab rat. They might change their tone of voice mid-conversation just to see if the person unconsciously adjusts theirs to match. They'll alter their body language, leaning in slightly or mirroring movements, waiting to see if the other person follows suit. Sometimes they'll deliberately hold eye contact a little longer than socially acceptable, not in an aggressive way, but just enough to make the other person uncomfortable or hyper-aware. They watch closely. Does the person look away? Do they fidget? Do they lean back, suddenly defensive? These tiny details tell the Sigma everything he needs to know about dominance, confidence, and insecurity. But it goes deeper. They'll experiment with silence, pausing at unexpected moments to see if the other person rushes to fill the gap. A desperate need to fill silence often exposes nervousness or insecurity. On the flip side, some people become visibly uncomfortable when the Sigma says less than expected, proof that they rely on constant validation through conversation. They also play with social energy. One day they'll be fully engaged, charismatic, responsive. The next, distant, withdrawn, giving only minimal effort. They watch carefully. Who notices? Who asks if something's wrong? Who changes their behavior to adapt? The results tell them exactly who is truly interested in them, who is only around for convenience, and who is too self-absorbed to even notice the shift. Sigma males don't do this for fun. They do it to understand the hidden mechanics of human interaction. They aren't fooled by words. They pay attention to micro-reactions, unconscious patterns, and body language most people don't even realize they're projecting. By the time the average person thinks they're just having a casual chat, the Sigma has already measured, assessed, and categorized them completely, without saying a single word about it. Number 2. They test themselves with voluntary discomfort. Sigma males don't just endure discomfort, they seek it out deliberately. Not for bragging rights, not for attention, but because they know that comfort is the enemy of strength. They understand something most people ignore. The more accustomed you are to ease, the weaker you become. So they test themselves in ways that seem small but have a profound impact. They might take freezing cold showers, not because it's trendy, but because it forces their mind to override instinctive resistance. They might go without food for a day, not because they need to, but to remind themselves they are in control of their hunger, not the other way around. Some even sleep on the floor instead of a bed, just to strip away luxury and prove to themselves that they can rest anywhere, under any condition. It doesn't stop there. They'll wear the same clothes for days to see if they can detach from vanity. They'll go without speaking for hours, even days, just to train themselves in silence. They'll sit in the dark for extended periods, embracing isolation rather than fearing it. Every action has one goal: to make weakness foreign and discipline second nature. Unlike those who chase comfort and complain when life gets tough, Sigma males build their own resilience in secret. They create artificial hardship because they know real hardship will come, and when it does, they'll be ready while everyone else is breaking down. What looks like small, unnecessary struggles to the outside world is actually mental armor being forged in private. The difference between a Sigma and the average person? Most people avoid discomfort at all costs. A Sigma walks straight into it, knowing that the only way to stay strong is to keep testing how much you can take. Number 3. They simulate their own death and analyze who would care. Sigma males don't fantasize about death in a self-destructive way. They use it as a tool for clarity. They ask themselves a simple but brutal question. If I were to disappear today, who would actually care? Not in a vague, sentimental way, but in real, tangible actions. Who would notice immediately? Who would pretend to grieve for social points? Who would feel nothing at all? They run through the scenario in their minds, stripping away illusions. Would certain friends even send a message? Or would their absence go completely unnoticed? Would family members mourn for them? Or would they just use their name for sympathy in conversations? Would old acquaintances suddenly act like they were close, painting a false picture of the relationship? Sigma males watch how people react to others' deaths and use that as a blueprint for what would happen if they were gone. This exercise isn't about self-pity. It's about cutting through the noise. It exposes who is truly important and who is just an extra in the story. If someone wouldn't care in death, why waste time on them in life? It's an emotional filter, allowing them to refine their circle down to only those who genuinely value their presence. But there's another layer to it. Sigma males also use this simulation to measure their impact. Have they left anything behind? Have they built something worth remembering? If they were gone tomorrow, would the world remain completely unchanged? If the answer is yes, it means they're not working hard enough on their goals, their legacy, or their influence. Most people live as if they'll exist forever. Sigma males remind themselves that they won't, and by rehearsing their own hypothetical absence, they ensure that when their time does come, whether tomorrow or decades from now, they won't just be another forgotten name in a long list of meaningless lives. Number 4. They invent their own personal code of ethics. Sigma males don't follow prepackaged rules. They don't subscribe to the so-called alpha hierarchy, nor do they blindly obey the moral expectations of society. Instead, they design their own personal code of ethics, one that aligns with their principles, not external pressure. They don't care if something is considered right or wrong by the masses. They ask, does this align with my personal values? If the answer is yes, they stand by it. If not, they discard it without hesitation. Their morality isn't dictated by religion, culture, or social approval. It's built from deep introspection, experience, and an unshakable sense of self. This makes them unpredictable. While others follow rules out of fear of punishment, judgment, or rejection, Sigmas act only from conviction. This is why they can walk away from toxic relationships without guilt, refuse to conform even when it costs them opportunities, and break unwritten social rules without a second thought. They don't break laws just for the sake of rebellion, but if a rule is meaningless, hypocritical, or designed to control rather than protect, they have no problem ignoring it. Their code is often stricter than society's. A Sigma might hold himself to a higher standard of honesty, discipline, or loyalty than the people around him. But here's the catch. His code applies only to him. He doesn't force his values on others, doesn't preach, doesn't expect the world to follow his path. His morality is his own, and he answers only to himself. This is why Sigmas are often misunderstood. People can't categorize them. They aren't bad boys, but they also aren't nice guys. They can be ruthless yet principled. They can be kind yet completely detached from social expectations. The world wants people who fit into clear boxes. Sigmas refuse to step inside any of them. At the end of the day, a Sigma's greatest loyalty isn't to a group, a cause, or even a belief system. It's to his own unshakable sense of what is right, by his own definition. Number 5. They train in dark arts, but never use them. Sigma males don't just study self-improvement, they study power. They know that the world isn't built on fairness, honesty, or good intentions. It's built on persuasion, influence, and, in many cases, manipulation. The difference between the naive and the powerful is awareness, and Sigmas refuse to be naive. They educate themselves in the dark arts, psychological tactics used by salesmen, politicians, con artists, and even everyday manipulators. They learn about gaslighting, guilt-tripping, reverse psychology, framing, and social engineering. They study seduction, not to play games, but to understand when it's being used on them. They analyze deception, not to deceive, but to detect lies before they become problems. They observe dominance tactics, not to control others, but to ensure no one controls them. But here's the key difference between them and the manipulators they study. Sigmas don't use these tactics for personal gain. They aren't interested in cheap tricks to get ahead, nor do they exploit people's weaknesses for pleasure. Instead, they train themselves to become immune to these techniques. They learn the game so they can't be played. When someone tries to guilt-trip them, they recognize it instantly and remain unfazed. When someone attempts to manipulate them through flattery, they see through it and stay detached. When someone tries to control a conversation through subtle dominance moves, the Sigma dismantles it with silence, confidence, or a well-placed counter-tactic. This is why people often find Sigmas intimidating without understanding why. A manipulator can't manipulate them. A liar can't deceive them. A social climber can't use them. There's an unshakable presence in a Sigma male, a quiet understanding that nothing gets past him. He doesn't lash out, doesn't argue. He simply knows. The real power of a Sigma isn't in using manipulation, it's in rendering it useless. Because once a man can't be controlled, persuaded, or deceived, he becomes one thing society fears the most, completely untouchable. Number 6, they reverse engineer social manipulation tactics. Sigma males don't just avoid manipulation, they study it like a science. They don't want to simply resist being controlled. They want to understand exactly how control works, down to the finest detail. They don't rely on gut feelings or blind trust. Instead, they reverse engineer social tactics, breaking them apart piece by piece to see how they function. They pay attention to the subtle ways people try to gain power in conversations. A casual compliment before a request? That's priming. A harmless guilt trip disguised as concern? That's emotional leverage. A sudden shift from warmth to coldness to make them chase validation? That's push-pull manipulation. Sigmas analyze these moves not with anger or paranoia, but with cold precision. They also study group dynamics, how leaders assert control, how social hierarchies enforce obedience, and how fear, shame, or peer pressure are used to keep people in line. They recognize how society programs people to think a certain way, making them obedient without even realizing it. This is why Sigmas are so detached from mainstream narratives. They can see when they're being subtly nudged toward conformity. But the real advantage of this mindset isn't just awareness, it's immunity. Once you understand the mechanics of manipulation, it no longer works on you. When someone tries to emotionally bait them, Sigmas remain unshaken. When someone uses fake urgency to pressure them into a decision, they recognize the tactic and step back. When someone tries to establish dominance through intimidation, they see through it and refuse to engage. This is why people often feel uneasy around a Sigma male without knowing why. They sense that their usual tricks don't work on him. He doesn't react the way they expect. He doesn't get offended, guilted, or pressured. He sees everything for what it is, and because of that he becomes untouchable in a world built on deception. Number 7. They keep one major life goal a secret from everyone. Sigma males operate on a level of secrecy that most people can't comprehend. While others broadcast their ambitions for validation, support, or motivation, Sigmas do the exact opposite. They keep one major life goal completely hidden, even from the people closest to them. This isn't just about privacy, it's about power. When a goal is kept secret, it's immune to sabotage. No one can doubt it, criticize it, or try to manipulate it. There's no outside pressure, no expectations, no distractions. The only voice that matters is the Sigma's own. He might be building an empire, developing a rare skill, or planning a drastic life change, but you'll never know until it's done. Friends, family, even romantic partners might think they know his ambitions, but those are just decoys. The real mission, the one that defines him, remains locked away in his mind until it's fully realized. Why? Because Sigmas understand how the world works. The moment you announce your goal, people start projecting their insecurities onto it. They'll say it's impossible. They'll compare it to their own failures. They'll subtly or even outright discourage it, whether out of jealousy, fear, or simply because most people can't stand to see someone truly independent. Sigmas don't need motivation from others. They don't need validation. They operate in complete silence, working methodically toward something that only they know exists. Then one day, without warning, they reveal it, fully formed, undeniable, and untouchable. And by the time the world notices, it's already too late to stop them. Number 8. They practice detachment from everything, even their own identity. Sigma males understand something most people never question. Identity is not fixed, it's a construct. Society tells you who you are based on your past, your name, your habits, and even how others perceive you. But Sigmas? They refuse to be trapped by any of it. This is why they practice detachment from everything. Their possessions, their relationships, and even their own sense of self. They don't cling to labels, reputations, or old versions of themselves. If they start feeling too attached to an identity, they'll intentionally destroy it just to prove they can exist without it. Some will change their name or adopt an alias, not for deception, but to remind themselves that they are not their name. Others will completely alter their style, going from rugged to refined, from minimalist to extravagant, just to test how fluid their personality can be. Some will go even deeper, shifting their entire way of thinking, abandoning old beliefs, and adopting new philosophies just to see which ideas truly serve them, and which ones were just inherited from society. This level of detachment gives them an almost ghost-like presence in life. They can disappear from social circles without feeling a shred of guilt. They can start over in a new city, with a new identity, and never look back. They don't cling to nostalgia, sentimentality, or the fear of losing themselves, because they understand that who they are is a choice, not a prison. To the outside world, this makes them unpredictable, even unsettling. People rely on consistency in others because it makes them feel safe. But a Sigma isn't here to make others comfortable. He is here to remain untethered, untouchable, and above all, free. Number 9. They control their digital presence with precision. Sigma males are digital ghosts, moving through the online world with a precision and care that most people can't fathom. While others share their thoughts, their emotions, and their entire lives online, Sigmas approach their digital presence with the same strategic mindset they apply to every other part of their life, with control, intention, and calculated restraint. Every post, every comment, every like is deliberate. Nothing is left to chance. They know exactly how they want to be perceived, and, more importantly, how they don't want to be perceived. They understand the power of a digital footprint and how easily it can be used to manipulate, distract, or even harm. So they keep their online presence minimal and purposeful, sharing only what serves their goals and maintaining a certain level of anonymity. Their social media profiles, if they even have them, are sparse. They may post just enough to keep people from questioning whether they exist, but never so much that anyone can truly understand them. A well-curated image, a sparse timeline. They're visible enough to be untouchable, yet hidden enough to remain in control. The personal details most people flaunt are completely absent. Their posts are rarely impulsive, they're planned. Every piece of content is designed with a specific message or outcome in mind. Sigmas don't use social media to validate themselves. They don't share their moods or day-to-day experiences to gain attention or approval. Instead, they use it like a tool, to connect when they want, to influence when necessary, and to remain invisible when the spotlight is undesired. Their digital silence is often what makes them so intriguing. To the average person, it can feel like Sigma males exist just beyond reach, like watching someone through a fogged window. People can't figure them out, can't track them, can't predict them, and that's the way Sigmas want it. They understand that in an age where everyone is exposed, the true power lies in staying deliberately unseen. In a world where most people are defined by their digital presence, Sigmas make sure they define themselves instead. Number 10. They train in passive defense against society's traps. Sigma males are masters of subtle resistance. They don't just fight against manipulation. They've learned how to navigate the systems that try to control them without even appearing to resist. In a world where governments, corporations, and the media all try to shape thoughts, behaviors, and actions, Sigmas have developed a form of passive defense. A quiet, calculated strategy that keeps them outside the reach of mainstream control. They don't buy into the hype. They see the manipulative tactics used by the media to stir emotions and create division, and instead of reacting or joining the chaos, they step back and observe. They understand how corporations play on insecurities to sell products or services, and they refuse to be sucked into the endless cycle of consumerism. They recognize the ways in which governments and societal structures prey on people's fear and desire for safety, all in an effort to maintain control. Sigmas are aware of these patterns, but instead of fighting against them head-on, they simply avoid getting caught in them. They keep their heads down, knowing that the less they engage with societal pressure, the more power they retain. They don't advertise their opinions on every social issue or consume the same media everyone else does. They live beneath the radar, refining their lives in ways that don't make them susceptible to mainstream influence. They develop financial independence, mental autonomy, and emotional resilience, quietly building lives that are impervious to the traps of modern society. Sigmas also understand that the key to defense is not confrontation, but evasion. When faced with systems that try to control them, they don't try to dismantle the system. They simply don't play the game. They don't engage in political or social battles that drain energy and focus. Instead, they find ways to work around the system, finding opportunities where others see none, and living in a way that lets them remain unaffected. While others become slaves to trends, advertising, and fear-driven narratives, Sigmas keep their independence. They don't just resist manipulation, they outsmart it, creating lives that exist beyond the reach of those who try to control them. Number 11. They secretly vet people with small loyalty tests. Sigma males operate on a level of quiet vigilance when it comes to trust. While most people are eager to bond and rely on their gut instincts to form relationships, Sigmas approach trust as something that must be earned, not assumed. They don't just take people at face value. Instead, they secretly vet everyone with what might seem like insignificant, low-stakes tests. These aren't big, obvious challenges, but small, subtle loyalty tests designed to see how someone reacts when the stakes are low, but the implications are high. The tests can be as simple as asking for a small favor, a last-minute errand, an inconvenient task, or a request that requires a slight sacrifice of time or energy. The Sigma isn't really concerned with the task itself, but with how the person responds. Do they help willingly, or do they hesitate, complain, or make excuses? Do they follow through with enthusiasm, or only because they feel obligated? These responses are carefully noted. Other tests might involve withholding information to see how much someone tries to pry or whether they respect boundaries. A Sigma might intentionally make himself slightly unavailable, or offer vague responses to see if the other person gets defensive or presses too hard. The way people handle being ignored or receiving minimal communication tells the Sigma how emotionally mature or manipulative they really are. The key to these tests is their subtlety. No one knows they're being tested, and because of this, their true character is revealed. Someone who eagerly helps without question, who respects the Sigma's space without demanding more, or who genuinely shows loyalty and care without seeking anything in return. These people pass. On the other hand, anyone who reacts with selfishness, impatience, or any signs of exploitation is immediately marked for what they are. This method of testing allows Sigma males to filter out people who might drain them or act in ways that don't align with their values. It's not about manipulation. It's about understanding people's true nature, not the facade they present. And when the tests are over, the Sigma knows exactly who belongs in his circle and who doesn't. Number 12. They rehearse difficult conversations before they happen. Sigma males don't walk into difficult conversations unprepared. They understand that words can be powerful, and that a well-timed, well-thought-out response can completely alter the course of an interaction. But unlike people who rehearse conversations out of insecurity or fear of being caught off guard, Sigmas rehearse them with a far more strategic mindset. They mentally run through scenarios, arguments, negotiations, confrontations, before they even happen, thinking through every angle. They're not worried about what they might say. They're crafting verbal weapons that will have the most impact when the moment comes. They consider not just what they want to say, but how to say it with the perfect balance of confidence and precision, ensuring that their message lands exactly the way they intend. This rehearsal isn't about worrying over how they'll be perceived or seeking reassurance. It's about honing their ability to speak with intention and to disarm any opposition. When Sigma males anticipate conflict, they analyze the other person's likely responses, their emotional triggers, and their possible weaknesses. From there, they build responses that cut through the noise, using facts, logic, or emotional appeal to control the narrative. They might rehearse a confrontation by mentally testing different approaches, considering how the other person might react to various tactics, whether it's calm and measured, emotionally charged, or bluntly honest. They prepare for every possible response, so when the time comes, they don't have to fumble for words or get caught in the heat of the moment. They are verbally armed and ready to win. But it's not just about dominating or defeating someone in conversation. It's about ensuring that the outcome of the interaction aligns with their goals. Whether they're negotiating a deal, diffusing tension, or confronting someone who's wronged them, Sigma males use words like precision tools. Their preparation allows them to stay calm and collected, using the power of silence, pauses, or concise retorts to make their point stick, without ever appearing rattled or emotional. In essence, they never let a difficult conversation dictate their emotions or decisions. They control the flow of dialogue, ensuring that when confrontation arrives, they are ready to lead the exchange to their desired outcome. As we wrap up this deep dive into the world of Sigma males, remember this: their power lies not in loud dominance or external validation, but in their quiet control, strategic thinking, and unwavering independence. Sigma males don't follow the crowd. They carve their own paths, master their own minds, and navigate life with a precision most people can't even comprehend. Understanding them isn't just about recognizing their unique traits. It's about learning from them. Whether it's mental fortitude, social mastery, or the art of living authentically, there's a lot we can take away from how Sigmas live life on their own terms. If you found value in this video and want to keep exploring the psychology of exceptional people, don't forget to subscribe, like, and share. Together, we'll continue to unlock the secrets of what makes people extraordinary and what it takes to truly live a life of purpose and freedom. Thank you for watching, and until next time, stay unstoppable. If you enjoyed this deep dive into the world of Sigma males, make sure you don't miss out on the next eye-opening video. Hit that subscribe button because there's so much more to explore. Don't just watch. Become part of our community of like-minded individuals who are always ready to level up in life. If this video resonated with you, drop a like to show your support. Comment below and let us know your thoughts, or share your own experiences with Sigma traits. We'd love to hear from you. And hey, if you think someone in your circle could benefit from these insights, share this video with them and spread the knowledge. Together, let's keep pushing boundaries, uncovering secrets, and mastering the art of living on our own terms. Like, subscribe, comment, and share, because when we grow together, we all rise. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you in the next one.